Good morning, everyone. Am I audible to you?
Good morning, sir.
Good
Yes.
morning, sir. Yes.
That's good. Welcome to the live session for your MMPC-005, that is Quantitative Analysis for Managerial Application. First of all, I would like to tell you that this paper consists of theory as well as numerical problems. And I will request all of you to have copy and pen ready with you whenever you have, especially the sessions for MMPC-05. Because during my talk, I will be discussing numerical part also. You might have seen or you might have gone through the study material, or by this time you would also have seen the assignment. In the assignment, you have two numericals and three theory questions. So during our this discussion, we will be discussing all those things which are important and which requires effort from your side. We will be starting with block 1, that is related to data collection and analysis. We have 4 units in that, and I will try that we discuss all these 4 units today itself. It starts from collection of data. Second unit is how the data is presented. Third one is the data, what has been collected, how it is analyzed. And unit 4 consists of different methods by which analysis part is done. To start with, we have to understand what is meant by collection of data. I'm not aware of your background, but we have heard all those words what I will be discussing. But the thing is that when we are doing our analysis, how it is being used. So as far as data is collected, collection of data is there. These are the facts which are expressed in quantitative form. That can be termed as data. Success of any statistical investigation depends on the availability of accurate and reliable data. These depends on the appropriateness of the method chosen for data collection. So we can say that data collection is a very basic activity in decision making. There are 2 types of data. First one is primary data, and the second one is secondary data. Now the question arises from where we are going to get primary data and from where we are going to get secondary data. I would like to inform you whatever a maximum part of what we will be discussing in MMPC-05 will be there in your 3rd semester in research methodology. That is MMPC-15, I suppose. So be careful, and you have to keep record of all this what I will be discussing in MMPC-5. It starts with primary data. When the data is collected specifically for the objectives of the study, under the control and supervision of the investigation for the first time. That is the primary data. It is collected by particular group of people and it is a very fresh data. Then comes the secondary data. When the data is not collected specifically for the objective of the study, rather derived from records, registers, journals, reports, theses, etc. This data has been collected by somebody for different source, for different purpose, but you are using the data for your analysis. That is secondary data. What are the methods of primary data collection? First one is the observation method. Here, the investigator asks no question. He only observes and records. What he will be recording? The recording of number of health service providers, retail outlets, educational institutions, etc. Now that thing is that what is the accuracy? Accuracy of data is difficult. I don't know. You were told to visit a particular place, and as far as my record shows that there are 15 chemists. But when you came back to me, you told that it is only 10 chemists are there. Now the question arises, where are the 5? Whether they exist or they are not. So this all things have to be considered while we are collecting the data, because that is the primary data. There is an error in recording or observations due to physical barriers or difficulties. Now the second part is what is personal interview. The name suggests nothing doing. We have not to know something new. What does personal interview mean? The same thing is applicable in management also. Here one investigator is there and the one is respondent. Here the information what we collect is more accurate, reliable, cross-checking and clarification of doubts is there, and fine-tuning is there. Secondly, what are its demerits? It is time-consuming, costly, large number of respondents are there and they are widely distributed. Second method is mailing a question. Again, the same thing is that an investigator is there and a respondent is there. What are the requirements of it? Respondent must be literate, ability to understand the instructions and questions and then answer them. It is easy to adapt because that questionnaire can be sent anywhere to anybody, any part of the world by mail. So the area increases. Now the thing is that there are different investigators and different responders. This is the basic example when we are doing telecalling. N number of telecallers are there and N number of respondents are there. For that, requirement is phone facility has to be there. What are its merits and demerits? It is less expensive, and whenever you are making a call, you get an instant response. What are its demerits? During a phone call.
Sir, can you please, I'm sorry, can you please repeat the last point, please?
Which one, ma'am?
After questionnaire.
Acha, questionnaire. The thing is that what does that questionnaire mean? Questionnaire is a particular set of questions which are mailed to you, and here investigator is a single person and the respondent is a single person. The requirement which has to be for the questionnaire is that we have to keep in mind that to whom this questionnaire has been sent is a literate person. He understands the question, then only he or she can answer it. And if questions have to be in lucid language, and this questionnaire can be sent anywhere to anybody in any part of the world by email. And similarly, the respondents are widely spread. I will continue where I was. I was on the telephone call. There are n numbers of telecallers and n number of respondents are there. Basic requirement is a phone facility. What are its merits? It's less expensive and instant responses are collected. What are its demerits? Because It requires a time. There are less number of questions which can be asked, and secondly, limited number of respondent response. You might have gone through telecallers give you a call, they start asking you about something, and immediately you cut the call because you don't want, either you don't have time or you don't want to disclose anything with them. As I said, the questionnaire method is an efficient method. No doubt it has some limitations also. Limitation is difficult in obtaining the information on ethical and sensitive issues. Nobody would like to disclose his or her income, any disease, and you won't be sharing personal life details with anybody, and that too in a questionnaire form. The second part is the chances of error and fallacies in recording the responses due to the variation in understanding of respondents and investigators, and interpretation may be wrong. The data what has been collected is not up to the mark, and there are some differences while it was being recorded. What we, in general language, what we say, human error. Now the basic thing is that how to design a survey. You might have heard, or you might be a part of it, I don't know, how a designing of a survey is done. There are three steps in it. Number one, designing of a questionnaire. Second part is pre-testing of the questionnaire. And the third part is editing the primary data, because questionnaire has been circulated first. Now, what does the designing of questionnaire mean? Number one, it has a cover letter. Cover letter gives you provide the introduction, objectives, instructions, and consent. Second part is that you have to grab maximum information with minimum number of questions. What should be the nature of the questions? Questions should be simple, short, and ambiguous. You should avoid ethical, sensitive, or personal questions. And the questions should have no calculations in it, and they should be logically arranged. And similarly, the last most important part is you have to cross-check it, and you have to make, or you have to write or provide footnotes at the bottom. Now the second, as the questionnaire has been designed, the second part is pre-testing of the question. What does we do then? We do a pilot survey. Pilot survey means we have to collect the information. We have to rectify if some rectification part or component is needed. We have to understand what the problem is, what are its inconsistencies, whether the problem is repetitive in nature. If when everything this part has been done, what help we are going to provide, or what help we are going to get. That is, what suitable changes can be made. We can delete irrelevant questions. We can provide some instructions, what we might have forgotten when we were making up the questionnaire. And we have to keep in mind the assessment time in its administration. Now, how editing of primary data is done. Number one, completeness. It should be complete in all aspects. That is, each and every question has been answered. Second part is consistency, which represents the responses should not be contradictory. Third one is accuracy. Check for accuracy of obtained information, and for checking inaccurate, random cross checks can be put. The fourth part is homogeneity. We have to see that understanding of questions should be same in which they are perceived. For example, monthly, weekly, monthly, annual income. Ambiguous questions may provide irrelevant information. Now, what are the sources of secondary data? As I told you earlier, the secondary data has been collected by third party. It has been used in different cases, different forms. Now the question is from where we can obtain this secondary data. It can be in the form of published sources. For example, CSO, NSSO, Office of Registrar, Journal of India, FICCI, ICAR, they all have data with them, and it is easily available and accessible. Second one is international organizations, that is UNO, WHO, ILO, UNICEF, World Bank. These are the organizations from where secondary data can be collected. The second source is unpublished source. That is, all statistical data need not to be published. The major source for that is government and semi-government, private and public organizations, payrolls, cash books, transaction data, etc. This provides unpublished because they are not published. What are the precautions? What we have to keep in mind while using secondary data? Do not accept the data as its face value. Now, why? Because data may be full of errors because of biasing, inadequate sample size, non-representative and purposiveness sample, computational errors. That means you can collect a data, but straight away it cannot be incorporated in your study. You have to analyze it, whether it is up to the mark what you are looking for. Your focus should be on suitability. That means suitable for the purpose of study, inquiry. We have to judge the nature and scope of the study because you are making the study. You are doing a project work. You are the best judge who can make sure that whatever the data you are getting is useful to you for your study. You have to keep in mind that what is the reliability of the source. Adequacy is the next part, whether data provides entire gamut of information or a part of information under the study. When secondary data is not available for the problem under study, a decision of primary data collection through the original investigation is suitable. There are two types of methods for data collection. Number one is Celsius method, and number two is sampling method. Now the thing is that what is Celsius method means? When investigator collects data by covering each and every unit of the total population. This method is known as complete enumeration or Celsius. For example, all males and all females are included. All males or all females or all children are included. All households or all business houses or agencies are included. All retail outlets or dealers or publishers are included. That means nothing is left. If suppose in a market there are 15 chemist shops or 15 booksellers, so all 15s are being questioned or are being a part of the study. We cannot leave anything. Now, how the sample size is drawn or how samples are done and what do we mean by that? When investigators collect data by covering only a perspective part of the total population and makes inference about the total population, the method is known as sampling method. The second method is Celsius method. Here, the information about every unit is collected. Its key merit is that more accurate, reliable, and consistent. It is economically, Celsius method is not viable. It is time consuming and quality may differ. What are the merits? It represents the entire population. It is a bit time saving and it provides correct interference. Now the second part is the data has been collected. How this data is presented. You might have seen bank or any organization which is working or which is producing something shows different form of bar graphs. Graphical part is made in the presentation. How now the thing is that we will study how that graphs, pie charts, histograms, curves are created and why they are created. All data collection data needs to be used properly. For this, data should be arranged, displayed, and summarized in the perfect manner. Now we will discuss how the presentation of the data is done. Data can be displayed either in tabular form or through charts. For tabular forms, data needs to be classified before it is being tabulated. First one is either it has to be classification of the data, and the second one is charting of the data. Now, what is the objective of data collection? We have to condense the mass of the data so that silent features can be noticed. It facilitates comparison between attributes and variables. We prepare data in the form it can be presented in a tabular form. What are the different types of classification? There are four classifications. Number one, geographical. Geographical means the area or the region or the place of investigation. Number two is chronological order. That is the occurrence of the event, in which order the event occurred. The third one is qualitative, which includes its attributes. And the fourth one is quantitative, which includes its magnitude and numerical values. Now I will take a simple example of it. If it is related to geographical part, so it depicts the production of rice country-wise. If it is in chronological order, it is sales figure of a company year-wise. Third one is qualitative, which includes classify population on the basis of the education. And if it is quantitative, the number of vehicles in cities of Ethiopia. Now, I will be using some terms which are normally used in analysis. That is frequency distribution. It is arrangement of data in group or category. Raw data is represented by distinct group known as classes. Number of observations that falls into each class is called its frequency. Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
After seeing this slide, I think you might have recorded something what you have done some 5-6 years back.
Yes, sir.
That was collection of data, raw data, and you were asked to classify it. You were asked to make a frequency distribution of it. So normally what we do, we select a number of children. Now the part is the how many number of families is there. So we make normally tally table. That is for each observation, one perpendicular line. After completion of 4 perpendicular lines, a slash is there. So that includes 5. You can see over here, 3 perpendicular line indicates 3 of frequency. And 5 plus 3 is 8. 2 over here, 1 for here. And for 4, there is nothing. This is how your frequency distribution table is drawn. Now the second part is its class limit. You might have seen 0 to 20, 0 to 10, 0 to 50. So that 0 part is the lowest value, and the 50, suppose we take 50, 50 is the highest. Class interval includes 0 to, if we are talking about 0 to 50, that means the interval or the width of the class is 50. Class frequency is what the number of observations we collect in that. And as far as the fourth part is class midpoint. That means in that what we will be doing, we will be adding 0 and 50. That comes out to 50, and we will be dividing it by 2. That will be 25. There are different types of class intervals. One is open exclusive method. The second one is inclusive method, and the third one is open-ended. Now the thing is that how they differ. If we take an example of
So
0 to
please
50,
can you repeat that?
it is inclusive. That includes exclusive method because 0 and 50 both are included. If we take 0 to 49, that is, and the next interval starts from 50. And in open-ended, we have seen normally at the bottom, it is 100 and above. Now, what are the
So this is the
guidelines
class
for?
interval you're saying.
Sorry?
Sir, you're teaching us the class intervals, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and the subheadings are exclusive and inclusive.
there are two. Normally, there are 3 types of class interval methods. But what we see in the presentation, that is, suppose 20 to 25, and the next one is 25 to 30. That is exclusive. And if we talk about inclusive, it is 0 to 24.99 and from 25 to 29.99. And the third one is open-ended. It states 30 and above. Normally, we get 20 to 25 and 25 to 30.
Okay, sir.
What are the guidelines for choosing class intervals? Number 1, number of class intervals should be between 5 and 15. Normally, the width of the class should be simple like 5, 10, 25, etc. The classes should have equal width. The starting point of the class should begin with either 0, 5, or a multiple. And the fifth one is class interval is found by dividing range by the number of classes. Now the slide is visible to you.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Now see, the raw data what you have collected, we are talking about the ages of 50 employees. The data has been collected. It is presented in a random form. Now I want to construct a frequency distribution table for it. Now the thing is that if we are talking about how this 20 and 30 comes into our mind, there are two methods. We are talking about employees, so it is very well understood that the person who is looking for a job maybe of somewhere 20 plus age. And the second part is that in the given data, see the lowest value. The data is in front of you. The lowest value.
So 21.
Maybe 21. Or is there 20 somewhere is there? 21 is
Yes. Lowest
is
in this
there.
table.
And what is the maximum limit?
70.
Maximum 70.
70, sir.
70.
Sir, it's not 70.
After where? How
65.
It should be 65. 65 is
65.
there. 65 is the highest one.
5 is the highest.
Yeah, but sir is
Okay.
asking for maximum limit, not highest number.
No, we have to make the range of 60 to 70 and 65 will come under it. We have the highest data we have is 65 only.
Please forget about this part. I'm just starting what I have discussed. Okay, how from this data, this table is drawn. First of all, the thing is that the lowest value. Second part is the highest value. You said that lowest is 21 and highest is 65. Correct? Now,
Yes, sir.
so that means 21 is there. So that means we have just discussed it has to start with a number. So we cannot start this data from 21. We will move it to a number which is nearer to a multiple of 10 or multiple of 5. 20 is there. We will start and the gap should be of 10 or 5 or 15. That was taught to you just a few minutes back. We will take a simple part as a gap of 10. First class interval will be 20 to 30. Similarly move 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and 60 to 70. We won't be moving more than 70 because you said the highest number is 65. The first column of ages is complete. Now, how this tally marks are drawn. First of all, the first number is 22. 22 comes in this age. You have to draw a horizontal perpendicular line. Second is 21, another perpendicular line. 37 is there in the second row. 37 will come over here. Similarly, move on. And this tally marks are drawn. 4 perpendicular lines and 1 inclined line. That shows a data of 5 units.
So the perpendicular line for number 60 will come under the fourth line or the fifth line?
Which one? 60.
Sir, the perpendicular line for 60 will come under the fourth row or the fifth row?
Fourth. That is included.
Fourth row.
Fourth row. Number more than 60 should be included in 60 to 70 because we are presuming that the number starts from 51 to 60.
Hello. I think it should be 20 to 30, 31 to 40, like that, na grouping.
Hmm.
Yes, the grouping should be from
Yes, the
30
grouping should
and
be from
31
31
to
to 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60.
Yes.
Yes.
Is the presentation clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now here see, we are using two more frequencies. That is cumulative frequency and relative frequency. Cumulative frequency will be used many times in your calculation in your MMPC 5 paper and in MMPC 15 paper. I'm just recalling all you have been taught, or if those who were having mathematics might have done in somewhere in your graduation or in your 10+2 level. Now I'm just telling you how CF is find out. You see frequency over here 5, 10, 25 and 10. This data. Two columns were given to you. How this cumulative frequency is calculated. 5 is written in front of first frequency. And for finding this 15, we have to add this 5 with this 10. So we will get 15, and 15 plus 25 becomes 40, and 40 plus 10 becomes 50. Now, while doing calculation, you might forget how to say that whatever you have drawn is, whatever you have written is correct. So keep one thing in mind, this frequency will be your last value in the cumulative frequency column. This 50 and this 50 will be same. You may make error while calculating all this, so you can go back and see to it from where you have made a mistake. This 50, the last 50 of the frequency will be same value of the last value of the cumulative frequency. And the third column is relative frequency. That is the relativeness of a particular value with the total frequency. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. It is clear.
Yes, sir.
And I hope you people are writing what I am showing it to you, because you may get it in different books, but since we are discussing right now, so I will prefer that you should write it out.
Sir, can you explain that how the relative frequency is being calculated?
So we have to use two values. What will be the value of 5 by 50?
One
It is
point
0.1. The next one.
10 by 50?
0.2,
25 by 50?
0.5,
10
Okay,
by
sir, got
50?
it, got it.
0.2.
I want that you people should ask me a question. Because whatever being is what we are discussing right now is not used anywhere in our personal life, because we are working in different, I don't know in which part of the organization people are working, but normally when we are doing analysis, we are trying to develop some study. All these informations are used. Normally, what we are doing, we have to move to the office, we have to move to do that. We don't do any calculative work. So this all calculative work is being done by your planning division. Now, the data has been collected. Now we have to do the charting of it. Normally, how chart is drawn? Chart is drawn in the form of either bar diagram, histogram, frequency polygon, foci, or cumulative frequency curve. Bar chart can be a simple bar chart, it can be a three-dimensional bar chart, or it can be a spread. Now, how does the simple bar chart look like? You might have seen it somewhere. This data is basically related to two things. It is showing the population in millions along y-axis and the year number along the x-axis. This is a simple form of bar chart. Now, whatever we will be discussing, so in your theory part, all these things are being maybe asked. What are the demerits? What are the merits of bar chart? So normally, demerits, data are no longer available for further analysis. And what are its merits? It is friendlier, easy to draw, greater immediacy, or the pattern can be easily made visible with three dimensionals or stacked bar chart. Normally, in a single figure, we can analyze after viewing it. Now, the second part is histogram. It is basically a bar chart where the original data is a series of measurements or a continuous scale that have been split into categories. You have seen in bar chart, there was a gap between the two different columns. In histogram, no gap is there. They are all joined together. This is how a histogram looks like. This is frequency polygon. What we are doing, we are just simply joining the midpoints of the histogram. This was the first point. This is the second point. The third one, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Here and here, these points are available. And we straight away drawing this on the horizontal x-axis line. Similarly, this is drawn. This is the end. And what we get, this is frequency polygon. This is the pure frequency. This is similar to this. The bar chart has been removed. The histogram has been removed. Frequency polygon is drawn by joining the midpoint, the top of the histogram. Now comes ogives. Ogive is basically a cumulative frequency curve. Ogive is the graphical presentation of a cumulative frequency distribution. And therefore, when the graph of such a distribution is drawn, it is called cumulative frequency curve or ogive. There are two methods of constructing ogive. The first one is less than ogive, and the second one is more than ogive. Less than ogive, in this method, the upper limit of the various classes are taken on the x-axis, and the frequency obtained by the process of cumulating the preceding frequency on y-axis. You have seen how cumulative frequency is drawn when frequency is given. In less than ogive curve, we will be using the upper limit and the respective cumulative frequency of that. I will show you in an example. And in more than ogive, a cumulative frequency curve can be drawn by taking the lower limit on x-axis and cumulative frequencies on y-axis. This is your less than type ogive. It is starting from x-axis and it is moving upward. And in more than, it is starting from top and it is coming on to the bottom on x-axis. Now the shape of the less than ogive curves rises. It is rising in nature, and for more than ogive, it is coming down. And where these two lines meet, the more than
So,
and the yes, please.
can you explain the ogive curve one more time in relation to the data which you are showing? How that calculation has been done?
Normally, what is done? In less than ogive, there are two types of ogive. The first one is less than ogive, and the other one is more than ogive. In less than ogive, which data do we take? The upper limit. Suppose we are talking about 0 to 25. 25 is your upper limit, and the frequency obtained by cumulating the respective cumulative frequency. Suppose your data is 0 to 25 and its frequency is 5 and its cumulative frequency is 5. What will we have? What for less than ogive, what we will be considering? 25 and 5.
Okay.
Correct? And for
Yeah.
more than ogive, what we will be considering? We will be considering the lower limit and the cumulative frequency. Where these two graphs will meet, that means the upper, the more than and the less than. Where these two graphs will meet, that will be your median.
When these two graphs meet, it will look very similar to the frequency curve, right?
We are talking about the cumulative frequency. I will show you in the third part when we will be measuring the central frequency. I'm just telling you where these two graphs meet. That means the less than and the more than type graphs meet. The point, that is basically your median. Now we'll move on to the measure of central tendency. It is a statistical basics calculative part starts here. It is a statistical method for summarizing and describing data. We have to find one representative value which can be used to locate and summarize entire set of varying values. Central value around which the data tends to cluster. That means normally in statistical language it is the mean, because around mean everything revolves. What is the significance of this term? It condenses the mass of the data in one single value to get an idea of the entire data. Suppose we are considering individual income of 1,000 persons. On calculating the average, we can presume that this might be the average, this might be the monthly income of all these persons. When we can straight away compare two sets of data. It can be production related or it can be sales for a particular period. Either it can be of a 1 month or it can be of 3 months or it can be on 6 months. What are the properties of good measure? Number one, it should be easy to understand. It should be simple to compute. It should be based on all the observations. It should be uniquely defined and capable of algebraic treatment. And last but not the least one, it should not be affected by the extreme values. What are the important measures which we consider while doing statistical analysis? Number one, arithmetic mean. Number two, weighted arithmetic mean. Number three, median. Number four, quartile. Number five, decile. Number six, percentile. Seven, mode. Eight, symmetric mean. Nine, harmonic mean. Apart from this, what I said, there were 9.
Sir, can you please repeat the points? Hello?
You can see the important measures over here. You will be using arithmetic mean, median, quartile, percentile, and mode in maximum of your study. These are the basic 4 formulas which are normally used in arithmetic. Arithmetic mean in general is sum of all the observations divided by number of observations. That is the first example. First formula, x bar is equal to summation of x upon number of terms. Second formula is used when frequency is given. And the third formula is used. This third is used when the data is large. Frequency is more and data is large. There we assume something. So while I will be solving the numerical, I will discuss it with you. It will be better if you write the formula this time. First one, second one, and third one. What you d, you can see over there, the product of f into d. D is nothing but d is equal to x minus a upon I.
So D equals to X minus A.
Sorry, D is equal to X minus A upon I. This D is the part of this. This D is equal to X minus A upon I. What are the properties of arithmetic mean? Number one, the sum of all the deviations of the observation from the arithmetic mean is 0. And the square of the sum of the square deviations on the observation from the mean is minimum. Now the question arises, why do we use always mean? And during our discussion earlier, we said that everything is revolving around a numerical value. And what I said, it is the mean. Now, arithmetic mean has the great advantages of being easily computed and readily understood. It is due to the fact that it possesses almost all the properties of a good measure of central tendency. No other measure of central tendency possesses so many properties in it. However, the arithmetic mean has some disadvantages. The major disadvantage is that its value may be distorted by the presence of extreme values in a given set of data. A minor disadvantage is when it is used for open-ended distribution, since it is difficult to assign a midpoint value to the open-end class. You remember I said 20 and above. So how do we close that part? So this is the disadvantage. Now, the second one is weighted arithmetic mean. Weighted arithmetic mean is used if one wants to combine average values from the sample of the same population with different sample sizes. Now, the most important and widely used is median. Median is the middle of the distribution. Abhi, last few minutes back, I said
Yeah.
less than and more.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello, sir. Can you repeat weighted arithmetic again?
weighted arithmetic mean is used if one wants to combine average values from the sample of the same population with different sample size. But you don't have to do anything. Weighted data is given and the sample size is given. You have to multiply it and you have to divide by their summation. Weight Now the most important part is the median and widely used. It will be used in almost every part of the calculation. Median is the middle of a distribution. Half the scores are above the median and half are below the median. If you remember, I said less than and more than curve ogive, where they meet is the median. The median is less sensitive to extreme scores than the mean. The third one is the better measures than the mean for highly skewed distribution. Now, since we have formula for calculating mean for group and ungrouped data, similarly we have a formula for median when the data is grouped or the data is ungrouped. Suppose we have 5 observations. In that case, how to determine the median of that data? First of all, we have to arrange that data in the descending order. Suppose we have three numbers with us, 2, 4, 7. These are the three numbers. How to determine the median of these three numbers? The middle value, that is 4. 4 is the median. If the observations are even in number, keeping the same thing in mind, 2, 4, 7, we are adding the fourth one, that is 12. In that case, what we will be doing? We will be adding the two middle values, 4 and 7. It will become 11. 11 by 2 is 5.5. The median will be 5.5. And with that will lie between 4 and 7. Now, the third one is, if we have data in the form of frequency. So that will have class intervals and frequency. In that case, we have to use, because this formula, this median formula will be used in calculating percentile, decile. Only one value is going to change. Rest everything will remain the same. You can see the formula of median, that is ME is equal to L plus N by 2 minus PCF, or you can write CF upon F into I. You just simply write down the formula. While I will be doing the numerical, I will show you everything, how every part is calculated. Median is equal to L plus N by 2 minus PCF upon F into I. Remember this formula, because this formula will be used in calculating median. Similar formula, similar nature will be used in calculating quartile, percentile, and decile. So you have to remember this formula. ME median is equal to L plus N by 2 minus PCF upon F into I. The third one is mode. Mode is the maximum occurrence of any event is its mode. Mode is the most frequently occurring score in the distribution, greatly subject to sample fluctuation, and is therefore not recommended to use as the only measure of central tendency. The further disadvantage of the mode is that many distributions have more than one mode. These distributions are called multimodal. There exists an empirical formula. It has been asked many times. What is the empirical relation between mean, median, and mode? The question is, what is the empirical relation between mean, median, and mode? So simply write down the relation. The mode is equal to 3 median minus 2 mean. I will be using this formula in numerical part. Your formula, the relation between mode is equal to 3 median minus 2 mean. Now, if we have to calculate mode for group data, we have a formula for that.
Sir, can you, excuse me, sir, can you just one more repeat the relation between mean, median, mode?
That is, mode is equal to 3 median minus 2 mean. This is the formula which is used when model class is given to you, or the frequency is given in the problem. equal to L plus F4 minus F1 upon 2F4 minus F1 minus F2 into H. We will be doing numerical on each part. Don't be worried about it. But first of all, we should be aware about the theory part. Because as I told you, I hope everyone has written the formula for that to calculate mode.
Yes, sir, we have noted it down.
Okay. Now, everyone has written the formula. Now, a problem is presented in front of you. This problem is during the conduct of a research study involving a group of 40 library staff. The following scores on a library aptitude test were obtained. You are supposed to determine mean, median, and mode. This question is itself enough because it will be using all the three formulas what you have been asked to write. Okay, and I hope everybody is having pen and pencil with you. वो देखने से इतना याद नहीं रहेगा, वो याद तब रहेगा जब आप उसे लिखेंगे. मैंने what I've done, I've just converted this into a perpendicular form in the form of columns. So similarly, the thing is that these two columns were given to me. Okay, and now I am telling you the procedure how mean, mode, median is calculated. The formula is with you. These two parts were given to you. Since we have to determine the mode, median, so we have to find cumulative frequency. What I told you, this 45 for cumulative frequency, this 45 will come in front of this. This 45 will be added to this 20, it will become 65. This 14 will be added to this 65, it will become 79. 79 plus 7 is 86. 86 plus 3 is 89. What I told you, this 89 and this 89 will be the same numerical number. That means cumulative frequency is correct. Now I'm finding out the mid value. Mid value is this 0 plus 10 divided by 2. 0 plus 10 is 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now the difference is 10 over here. So I will just do 5. I will be adding 10 to this. This will become 15. Adding 10 again, 25. Adding 10 again, 35. Adding 10 again, 45. Now this mid value is being multiplied by this frequency. And this will be used in calculating arithmetic mean. Fx 2 to 5. Similarly, these two numbers are multiplied together. 45 into 3 is 135. We will be summing it 1255. Cumulative frequency part is clear to you because this will be a major problem. Because this,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it
sir.
is clear.
because I'm telling you this will become a major problem for you while you will be calculating your median. Because median formula will be used in calculating quartile deviation, It will be used in calculating percentile, decile, everywhere in this MMPC 5 as well as in MMPC 50. So be careful. That is why I'm asking you to write it. Now this data, this chart has been prepared by you. Now, any one of you who can tell me how to use that formula, that is how to calculate mean from this data. Any one of you. Formula
So sigma
for mean,
fx upon
mode,
sigma
median,
f.
So
Matrix
1255 divided by 89.
1255 divided by 89. That is correct?
89.
89, yeah.
14.1.
Yes, sir.
14.1, sir.
For rest, the answer will be visible in the second. I'm just asking you to calculate. There is no solving me. I will just see to it whether you have calculated correct or not. In my next slide, the solution is there. Now, I hope mean is correct. Mean is correct?
Yes,
Or
sir,
you have
correct.
doubts with that?
Correct, sir.
What is mean? 14.10.
14.1.
14.1.
14.10.
14.1.
Got
Yes,
it?
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Correct?
sir. Hmm.
Now, second part is how to calculate median.
Median.
What was your formula for median? Median is equal to L plus N by 2 minus CF upon F into I. That was the formula?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now listen to me very carefully. In the formula itself, there you can see N by 2 somewhere. आपके मीडियन के फॉर्मूले में n by 2 है
N by
ना?
2. हाँ, 89 by 2.
हाँ हाँ, अरे मैं जो कह रहा हूँ आप उसको समझिए. अभी फॉर्मूला उसकी वैल्यू भी आप ही निकालेंगे. आई एम जस्ट लेटिंग यू नो, आपने जो फॉर्मूला यूज किया है उसका एप्लीकेशन कहाँ है. सबसे पहले n by 2. n by 2 is 89 by 2. 89 by what? 44.5. 89 by 2 is what?
Mean.
भाई साहब 82 by 9, 89 by 2 पूछ रहा हूँ.
Total numbers of frequency, sir. Total numbers of frequency.
Total number of frequency is 89, and I'm asking you to divide it by 2. What is the value?
It will be mean. It will be mean, sir.
44.5. That is 44.5. Go back to the frequency table. In frequency table, can you see anywhere 44.5 or a number nearer to that?
Sir, it's 0 to 10.
Sir, it's
Okay.
45. It is in the class interval of 0 to 10.
Correct.
0 to 10, sir.
0 to 10. You have used n by 2.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Now, I'm just correlating things what the formula you have written. You have calculated the value of n by 2. That is 44.5.
Yes, sir.
Go back to the formula. You can see L is written over there.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what this L can be?
5.
5?
0.
Sorry.
No, sir,
0.
0.
0. 0. 0.
0.
0. 0. Sorry, 0.
0.
L is 0. Okay. You got n by 2. You got L. Now what is left?
So PCF.
PCF is what?
So
The
it's
nearest
preceding
number.
cumulative frequency.
Preceding cumulative frequency to median class.
Cumulative
That is
frequency
45.
of the preceding class. What does that mean?
Preceding class. तो कुछ नहीं.
The data is in front of you. Cumulative
45.
frequency starts from 45.
45. It's 45.
It's 45.
It's
And
45.
what else is there? What else is left in the formula?
Frequency.
F. F is 89.
F is
I.
89.
45.
45.
45.
45.
Yeah.
If it's
देखिए आप
45.
खुद एक मिनट, the formula is in front of you. See how much confused, how much worried you people are. कुछ नहीं करना, सब कुछ फॉर्मूले में लिख। L मिल गया आपको, अभी मैं बता रहा हूँ। L मिल गया आपको,
Yes, sir.
n/2 मिल गया आपको,
Yes, sir.
df मिल गया आप। आपके फॉर्मूले में I है या H है?
We have
I है.
I.
I है. I is the last interval.
क्लास इंटरवल कितना है?
10 है.
Sir, 10.
ठीक है,
10.
उसे भी रख लीजिए वहाँ।
10.
अब क्या रह गया?
Sir, F is 89.
नहीं
F
मैडम,
नहीं,
F
F is not
नहीं
89 है. F 89 नहीं है. F आपका 45 है. F 45 है जहाँ पे
देखिए
PCF
फॉर्मूले
यूज
में
कर रहा है.
वापस, आप अपने फॉर्मूले में
Yeah, it
वापस
is.
आइए।
F is 45.
89 is sum of F, not F, right? So that's the difference.
F is the number which is nearer to the PCF basically.
Mohammed, good morning. Since it's Sunday,
लीजिए साहब, मैंने लिख दिया।
can you ask them to
अब मिला
try
लीजिए।
posting it one more time today? And if there is any issue, I'll arrange for a WebEx tomorrow morning. But even if it is asking for,
You can see the answer over here. L is 0. n/2 is 44.5. प्रीसीडिंग क्लास का मतलब पहले वाली क्लास होती है या बाद वाली क्लास होती है?
Sir, पहले वाली.
पहले
पहले वाली
वाली क्लास
तो भैया
होती है.
टेबल ही स्टार्ट हुआ था 0 से, 0 वाली से, तो उससे ऊपर तो कुछ होगा ही नहीं।
0 to 10 से तो 0 होगा.
इससे ऊपर कुछ है ही नहीं। You somebody was saying 45
Said 0.
और उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी कितनी है? 45। देखिए जल्दी नहीं है, कंफ्यूज मत होइए, सब कुछ सामने लिखा हुआ, आपको मैं सिर्फ कोरिलेट करवा रहा हूं। Is that clear? Median is clear?
Yes, sir.
मोड निकालने के लिए बड़ा फॉर्मूला यूज कर, बड़ा मोड निकालने के लिए बड़ा फॉर्मूला यूज करने की जरूरत नहीं है। यू नो दैट 3 मीडियन माइनस 2 मीन इज मोड। मीन आपने निकाल दिया, मीडियन आपने निकाल दिया, कैलकुलेटेड।
Yes, sir, clear.
करेक्ट।
Yes,
हम
sir.
ड्यूरिंग आवर डिस्कशन वी विल सी टू इट वेरी क्लियरली। मैं बहुत सारी चीजें आपको सिखा रहा हूँ साइड बाय साइड। आप यहाँ जरा गौर से देखिए, यहाँ पे हम आपको पढ़ाएंगे हर जगह कि मीन, मोड और मीडियन इक्वल होते हैं या इक्वल हैं। ये हम कहते हैं, ये हमारी अजम्पशन होती है कि मीन, मोड, मीडियन इक्वल होते हैं। नाउ क्लियरली यू सी दैट योर मीन इज 14.10, median is 9.89 and your mode is 1.47. करेक्ट? बहुत डिफरेंस है इन तीनों में।
Yes, sir.
आप ध्यान रखिएगा क्योंकि हम आपसे ये कहेंगे ड्यूरिंग अवर डिस्कशन कि मीन, मोड, मीडियन इक्वल है, तो आप पहली बात तो ये सोचते रहेंगे कैसे हो सकते हैं। कोई बोलेगा नहीं होता है, कोई बोलेगा सर पता नहीं। तो क्लियरली मैं आपको ड्यूरिंग एग्जांपल्स आपको बता रहा हूं कि ये कभी इक्वल नहीं होते। हम एज्यूम करते हैं, हो भी सकते हैं, बट मैक्सिमम टाइम ये नहीं। तो हम इनको एक एज्यूम करते हैं कि दे आर इक्वल। अभी आप इसी फिगर को अपने ध्यान में रखिए कि आपने एक पहला न्यूमेरिकल किया जिसमें आपने मीन, मोड, मीडियन निकाला। देयर इज लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस, जो कि जब मैं लास्ट तक पहुंचूंगा आज के सेशन में तो आपको मैं खुद ही दिखाऊंगा कि ये सब चीजें इक्वल नहीं होंगी। Next part is quartile. आपने अभी मीडियन का फॉर्मूला लिखा है और मैंने आपसे कहा था कि मीडियन का फॉर्मूला क्वार्टाइल, परसेंटाइल और डेसाइल में यूज होगा। नाउ सी टू इट, कैसे यूज होगा। क्वार्टाइल, you have to replace that n by 2 by n by 4. क्वार्टाइल जो मीडियन होता है वो डाटा को 2 में डिवाइड करता है, क्वार्टाइल 4 में डिवाइड करता है, डेसाइल 10 में
Sir,
डिवाइड
can you
करता है।
please tell what is quartile?
भैया मैं वही बता रहा हूँ कि क्वार्टाइल क्या होता है। मीडियन करता है 2 पार्ट में डिवाइड डाटा को, क्वार्टाइल करता है 4 पार्ट में डाटा को, डेसाइल करता है 10 पार्ट में और परसेंटाइल करता है 100 पार्ट। डिवीजन ऑफ डाटा।
सर एन और एफ में डिफरेंस बता दीजिए। एन और एफ
इसमें?
में क्या, एन और एफ जो फॉर्मूला में मीडियन का था,
फ्रीक्वेंसी एंड टोटल नंबर ऑफ फ्रीक्वेंसी।
नहीं, जो एन है ना
सुनिए,
वो
ऐसा है,
आप यूज तो कर रहे हैं।
आप जो मैं आपने मुझसे पूछा है, आई एम जस्ट लेटिंग यू नो आपका एन में और एफ में डिफरेंस क्या है।
हाँ सर।
जो एन है दैट इज सम ऑफ ऑल द ऑब्जर्वेशन। अगर आप मीडियन वाले क्वेश्चन में चले जाएं तो आपने 89/2 किया था, करेक्ट?
यस सर।
आपने जिसने मुझसे सवाल पूछा है, आई एम आंसरिंग टू हिम। नो डाउट द आंसर इज फॉर एवरीवन। आपने मुझसे पूछा व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन एन एंड एफ, तो मैं वही जवाब दे रहा हूं। प्रॉब्लम आपके सामने है। एन होता है फ्रीक्वेंसी का सम, हो गया। आपने वहां पे n/2 किया था, 89/2 किया था।
यस सर,
किया था। और जब आपने उस फ्रीक्वेंसी को यूज किया तो आपने क्या यूज किया? उस रेस्पेक्टिव क्लास की फ्रीक्वेंसी को यूज किया था। आपने समेशन एफ नहीं किया था।
हाँ,
यही डिफरेंस है। यहां पर भी मैं वही करने जा रहा हूं। अब देखना यहां मैं क्या करूंगा। यहां पे मैंने n/4 किया, यहां पे मैंने उस n/2 की जगह कर दिया n/4। और मैंने आपसे कहा ही 4 पार्ट में डिवाइड करता है। अगर मैं j की जगह 2 रख दूंगा तो वो n/2 बन जाएगा, यानी कि वो मीडियन मिल जाएगा। अगर मैं j की जगह 3 रख दूंगा तो वो 3n/4 बन जाएगा। उसका एप्लीकेशन वैसे ही होगा जैसे आपने मीडियन निकालने में किया था। अभी आप इसको पूछते रहिए, बट इसका न्यूमेरिकल पार्ट जैसे ही आएगा वैसे मैं आपको दिखा दूं। एक सेशन मैंने इसका प्लान किया है आपके पूरे न्यूमेरिकल्स के लिए। तो पहले मुझे ये तो मालूम है, आई एम जस्ट मेकिंग यू कि व्हाट फॉर्मूलाज वी विल बी यूजिंग। Okay.
Sir,
Now I'm moving to. Sorry.
Sir, I just want to ask one thing. We represent quartile by Q, decile by, is it K?
No. Decile. That is division part. I'm just coming. Decile is here. DK.
No, sir. It is represent. Okay, fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Got it, sir.
Wait. Ask me the question. You will. Your questions will be answered in this course of time only.
Okay,
I know what my students want to know. Now see, decile is basically data is divided into 10 parts. So that n/2 was changed to n/4. Now it has been changed to n/10. अब मुझे अगर फोर्थ पार्ट निकालना है तो मैं व्हाट आई विल डू, d4 निकालना है अगर, व्हाट आई विल डू, आई विल बी रिप्लेसिंग k/4.
Yeah, okay, sir. I think that will be more clear when we will do like questions.
That's good. Decile has been calculated by the same formula. The percentile has been again that is changed by p. Percentile means p, and the division will be in 100 parts. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, next point. अभी तक आपने किया एनालिटिकल पॉइंट. अब मैं आपको आपके जो डायग्राम आपने बार चार्ट, हिस्टोग्राम ये सब सुने थे, आपसे मैं ये कुछ वैल्यूज अब मैं वहां दिखाऊंगा आपको ग्राफिकली कैसे नजर आता है. आपसे मैंने कहा था क्वार्टाइल जो होता है ये ग्राफ में नजर आता है, और आपसे मैंने ये भी कहा था कि ये क्यूमुलेटिव फ्रीक्वेंसी ग्राफ में होता है. आपने लेस देन बनाया, आपने मोर देन बनाया, और मैंने आपसे ये कहा कि जहां पर लेस देन और मोर देन आपस में मिलते हैं वहां पर मीडियन होता है. करेक्ट? ऐसे ही कहा था मैंने. अब आप ये देखिए, can you find anything in from this table, from this figure?
Yes, sir. We can see quartile 1, quartile 3, decile and percentile.
Correct? Now the thing is that I have used less than curve. अगर मैं मोर देन को यूज करता तो वो कहाँ से शुरू होता? वो यहाँ से कहीं शुरू होता, यहाँ से टच होता हुआ यहाँ आता, और वो आपका क्वार्टाइल यही है ना, Q2. क्वार्टाइल मीडियन ही होता है ना, Q2 मीडियन ही होता है.
Yes, sir.
Q2 मीडियन ही होता है. Anyone has doubt in that?
No, sir. Yes.
No, sir. No,
It is
sir.
clear.
आपने मोड ऑफ फॉर्मूला क्या यूज किया था अभी तक?
3 median minus 2 mean.
यानी कि आपने इंपीरियल फॉर्मूला यूज किया. Now the question is that आपने मीडियन को प्लॉट कर लिया ना ग्राफ के ऊपर. Q2 आपका मीडियन ही था. अगर मोड की बात हम करें,
Yes, sir.
तो मोड को हम कैसे प्लॉट करेंगे? तो मोड होता क्या है? बेसिकली इट इज मैक्सिमम अकरेंस ऑफ एनी ऑब्जर्वेशन. यही मोड होता है आपका.
Yes, sir.
तो ये लीजिए, आपको मोड दिखा देते हैं. मोड कैसे आता है? What you did, आपने एक हिस्टोग्राम बना दिया. डाटा आपको गिवन था. अभी देखिए, आप मोड कोई चीज कैलकुलेट नहीं कर रहे हैं, ग्राफिकल. आपने क्या किया? हिस्टोग्राम बना लिया. मैक्सिमम फ्रीक्वेंसी जिसकी थी उस कॉलम पे चले गए. उस कॉलम से, उसके एक कॉर्नर से आपने ये लाइन ड्रॉ करी इस बार के ऊपर. ठीक है? और सेकंड लाइन आपने क्रॉस की यहाँ से इसके ऊपर. अब ये देखिए, ये ऊपर है और ये नीचे है. ठीक है? जहां पे ये लाइन क्रॉस हुई, फिर बात किसकी हुई? सेंटर वैल्यू की. जहां इस लाइन के ऊपर आप परपेंडिकुलर ड्रॉ कर दीजिए, यहाँ पर इसका मोड होगा. तो मीन भी सेंटर वैल्यू के आसपास ही होता है, मीडियन भी सेंटर वैल्यू के आसपास ही होता है, और मोड भी आपका सेंट्रल वैल्यू के आसपास होता है। इसीलिए हम इसको तीनों को
इक्वल
सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी कैलकुलेट करने के लिए यूज करते हैं। मैं इसको इन तीनों बता रहा हूँ, मीन, मीडियन, मोड। ये तीनों ऑलमोस्ट हम ये मानते हैं ये इक्वल है, और दे आर द बेस्ट टूल फॉर कैलकुलेटिंग सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी और सेंट्रल, बेसिकली सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी कहेंगे, फ्रीक्वेंसी नहीं कहेंगे। The advantage of mode is that, by definition, the most representative value of the distribution. For example, when we talk of model size of shoe or garment, we have this average in mind. Like median, the value of mode is not affected by extreme value, and its value can be determined in open-end distribution. The main disadvantage of mode is its intermediate value. That is, we cannot calculate its value precisely in a group data, but merely estimate it. When a given set of data have two or more than two values of maximum frequency, it is a case of bimodal or multimodal distribution, and the class of mode is not unique. The mode has no useful mathematical property. Hence, in actual practice, the mode is more important as a conceptual idea than as a working average. Now the thing is that अभी 5 मिनट पहले मैंने आपसे I told you an empirical relation between mean, mode and mean. And during my discussion, I told you I will be discussing about mean, mode and median. A distribution in which, listen to it very carefully now. A distribution in which mean, median and mode coincide is known as symmetrical bell-shaped distribution. I'm repeating, a distribution in which mean, median and mode coincide is known as symmetrical bell-shaped distribution. If a distribution is skewed, that is not symmetrical, then mean, median and mode are not equal. In a moderately skewed distribution, a very interesting relationship exists among mean, mode and median. In such type of distributions, it can be proved that the distance between mean and median is approximately 1/3 of the distance between mean and mode. That is shown in the figure. जिसको हमने आपसे कहा था empirical formula. वो साहब यहां से आता है, इस प्रेजेंटेशन से आता है. हमने आपसे ये कहा था, I told you, मीन मोड मीडियन बराबर होता है. अब मैं आपसे ये कह रहा हूं कि मीन मोड मीडियन बराबर नहीं. हमने आपसे ये कहा कि मीन माइनस मीडियन इज इक्वल टू 1/3 of mean minus mode. From there you got the formula for mode. That is 3 median minus 2. Is that clear?
Yes,
Sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Now we are moving to the next part, that is geometric mean. Geometric mean is an average that is useful for a set of numbers that are interpreted by their products and not their sums. Now the thing is that very much simple is clear is that we are suppose having 6 values. we have to calculate its geometric mean. We will be multiplying all these 6 values, and that will be raised to 1/6 of it, power. नॉर्मली एनालिसिस में 1% कहीं यूज होते हैं ये चीजें, मतलब हमारी उसके अंदर, बट वी शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ, मालूम होना चाहिए, कहीं पर भी जरूरत हो सकती है। आप देख रहे हैं 6 ऑब्जर्वेशन लिखी हुई है, आप जस्ट मल्टीप्लाइंग इट एंड making it 1/6 of that power because there are 6 observations are there. So it is a tedious job. So that is why we don't use it. करना है, there is another method. अब इंफॉर्मेशन ज्यादा बड़ी हो गई तो मैं उसको लॉग में ले जाऊंगा। अब प्रॉब्लम क्या होगी? I know it. Nobody knows how to study, how to work on log table. आपका ये फॉर्मूला जो है सेम थिंग, ऑब्जर्वेशन बड़ी हो जाएंगी, फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ गई तो आपको फिर लॉग से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज 25 पहले था 20, suppose 25 observations are there, so what you will be asked to multiply all 25 observations, then it's power of 1/25. So there is no logic in that. That can only be done by the help of log. For calculating log, we have to use log table. That is again a process. After calculating the log, you have to calculate the anti-log again. So if the time passes later on, we will see. I will try to tell you how log and anti-log are calculated. Geometric mean is especially useful in the construction of index numbers. It is an average most suitable when large weights have to be given to small values of observation, and small weights do not have to do large values of observation. This average is also useful in measuring the growth of population. Next, after geometric mean is harmonic mean. You can write the formula for it. I'm showing it to you. It is n upon summation of 1 upon x. You can see there is no under root of, only simple calculation is there. If these 6 observations are there, so n will be 6, and that will be the numerator, and in the denominator it will be 1/34 plus 1/24 plus 1/45, so until 1/34. That is equal to 33.0. Harmonic mean is useful for computing the average rate of increase of profits or average speed at which a journey has been performed, or the average price at which an article has been sold. Otherwise, its field of application is really useful. Now, the most important part, what we have discussed today. It is known as, till now, in the 4th part, I'm right now in the moving towards the 4th unit, that is the measure of variation and skewness. What is the significance of measuring variation? Measuring variation is significant for some of the following purposes. Measuring variability, It determines the reliability of an average for pointing out how, as of now, far an average is representative of the entire data. Second part is another purpose of measuring variability is to determine the nature and cause variation in order to control the variation itself. The third part is measures of variation enables comparison of two or more distributions with regard to their variability. What are the properties of good measure of variation? A good measure of variation should possess, as far as possible, the same properties as those of good measure of central tendency. That means the properties of central tendency are the beginning it was discussed. Following are some of the well-known measures of variation, which provides a numerical index of the variability of the given data. Number one, range. Number two, average or mean deviation. Number third, quartile deviation or semi-interquartile range. Number four, standard deviation. Again, as median formula was used here, same thing will be used again and again in different forms. You should be aware of how these four formulas, what I will be going to discuss, are applied in the problem. First of all, range. Range is the difference between the highest and the lowest value of the distribution. If you remember in the beginning of our session, we had that problem in which we made up the class intervals, tally marks, and frequency. You said it is the lowest value was 21 and the highest value was 65, what I remember.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, what is its range? That data
Sir,
starts from 21. That data
Sir,
starts from 21 and ends at 65.
65.
So what will be its range?
So 21 to 65?
It is
21
65
minus 21.
65 exactly. Correct? The range is the simplest measure of variability to compute. However, it does not use all of the data. Correct? You are using two values. That is the maximum and the minimum one. As the sample size increases, the range can increase, but the range can never decrease. Correct? अगर आप ऑब्जर्वेशंस बढ़ा देंगे रेंज चेंज नहीं होगी क्योंकि आपकी मैक्सिमम लिमिट तो वही है. Suppose we take up an example of 2, 3, 5 and 10. 2, 3, 5 and 10. Its range is 10 minus 2, that is 8. Correct? And if we take another data that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. आपकी रेंज यहाँ पर क्या होगी? 10 minus 2, again 8. सैंपल साइज बढ़ाने से आपकी रेंज में कोई चेंज नहीं होगा. अब what is the coefficient of range? Formula number 1. It is H minus L upon H plus L. Highest limit, highest value minus lowest value upon highest value plus lowest value. आपने अभी क्वार्टाइल निकाले थे. क्वार्टाइल का फॉर्मूला कहीं यूज किया था आपने? Q2 कैलकुलेट किया था? Q2 का फॉर्मूला देखा था आपने कहीं?
देखा था
देखा था. वहां पे somebody asked me कि ये क्वार्टाइल के अंदर Q1 Q2 आप ये वैल्यूज कैसे चेंज करेंगे? ये भी किसी ने पूछा था मुझसे. इतनी शॉर्ट मेमोरी कैसे हो सकती है?
Yes, sir. We remember.
कोई बात नहीं. My job is to show you it again.
Yeah, correct.
ठीक है सर?
Yeah, makes
मैं
sense.
क्वार्टाइल डेविएशन की बात कर रहा हूं, तो मैं यहां पर अब क्या करने वाला हूं, क्योंकि मैं Q2 मीडियन नहीं निकालूंगा, Q2 नहीं निकालूंगा, I will be calculating Q1 and Q3. I will be calculating Q1 and Q3. तो फॉर्मूले को आप जरा गौर से देखिए, it is Qj is equal to L plus J n by 4 minus PCF upon F into I. आपको ये मालूम है कि PCF क्या है, आपको ये मालूम है कि F क्या है, आपको ये मालूम है कि I क्या है और L क्या है. अब मैं जब इसको क्वार्टाइल डेविएशन करूंगा तो I will be using Q3 and Q1. I will be using the formula in terms of Q3 and Q1. Now, quartile deviation is QD. Quartile deviation is also known as semi-interquartile range, and it is computed by taking the average of difference between the third quartile and first quartile. That means your QD is equal to Q3 minus Q1 by 2. Quartile deviation is Q3 minus Q1 by 2. Q1 is for first quartile and Q3 is the third quartile. And your Q2 is your median. If you are supposed to determine the coefficient of quartile, it is Q3 minus Q1 upon Q3 plus Q1. Just write down the formula. Now the thing is that why do we calculate quartile deviation? Quartile deviation is superior to the range and it is not based on the two extreme values, but it is rather than included in the middle part of the observation because it is between Q1 and Q3. Another advantage of quartile deviation is that it is the only measure of variability which can be used for open-end distribution. Now, what is average deviation? Average deviation is the measure of average deviation. It's an important over the previous two measures in that it considers all observations given in the set of data. It is computed as the mean of deviations from mean or median. All the deviations are treated as positive regardless of the sign because we use mod in that. Your average deviation is equal to summation x minus x bar upon n. And x bar is changed by median. If we are being asked to calculate average deviation from median, in that case we will be using median. And if we are being asked to calculate average deviation from mean, that we will be using mean. Average deviation is good measure of variability. Its use is limited. If one desires only to measure and compare variability among several sets of data, the average deviation may be used. The major disadvantage of average deviation is that it lacks of mathematical property. It is more true because non-use of signs in this calculation makes it algebraically inconsistent. हमने जहां पे mod sign लगा दिया, किसी भी फॉर्मूले में अगर हमने mod sign लगा दिया तो एक सिंपल सी बात ये होगा कि आपने सारा डाटा पॉजिटिव ही रखा, आपने एक ही पार्ट को कंसीडर किया, सेकंड पार्ट आपने नहीं किया. तो एवरीथिंग हैज इट्स ओन लिमिटेशन एंड पर्पस. Now comes the most important part of this paper as well as for your research method. That is standard deviation and variance. 90% of students commit mistakes in calculating standard deviation and variance. To be careful, I will show you.
Standard deviation.
Sorry?
So can you please repeat standard deviation and
Variance. Variance. Wait, nahi, variance. V-A-R-I-A-N-C-E. Standard deviation and variance measures variability about the mean. The standard deviation is used in other statistical and it's the most stable of the variability of indices. If one reports the mean as the measure of central tendency, then standard deviation is also reported. The standard deviation is good for internal or ratio data. However, the standard deviation is affected by extreme values. Now, listen to it, what I'm saying right now. Approximately 68% of the measurements, that is the data, will fall within one deviation of mean. 95% falls within two standard deviations, that is 1.96. And the third one is 97.7%, that is almost 100%, which falls under third standard deviation. Normally, 68% यानी कि one standard deviation ही calculate करते हैं. तो आप जरा फॉर्मूले लिख लीजिए, that will be better. एप्लीकेशन तो हम करेंगे. Standard deviation is denoted by first basic formula for n individual observations, that is summation x minus x bar whole square divided by n. अब पहली गलती, first mistake which normally students do, आप इस वैल्यू को कैलकुलेट करेंगे टेबल्स में, यहां कैलकुलेट नहीं होगी. इस पावर 2 को इस अंडर रूट से रिमूव मत करना, क्योंकि ये डाटा, ये वाला डाटा समेशन x minus x bar you will be calculating in the tabular form. So don't get confused with this 2 and this under root. This is a part of it. You calculate summation x minus x bar whole square from the table, divided it by the summation of all the frequencies, you will get a composite number. Then you have to use the square root of it. For group data where frequency is given, this formula is used. Similarly, same thing, this square and this under root won't be removed, because this is what you have been calculating. You will be asked to calculate in the problem. And if frequency is too large, then we will be using this formula. Similarly, this d is equal to x minus a by I. And variance is the square of standard deviation. Normally what we do, हम उल्टा करते हैं. Variance is equal to, variance is the square of standard deviation.
So what is x underscore here?
X bar, that is mean. I will show you. I'm just coming to the problem.
Okay.
I'm coming to the problem. Now this is the problem. You have to calculate the mean and standard deviation of the membership fee. Fine. अभी तक हमको प्रॉब्लम में 2 कॉलम मिलते थे, यहाँ पर हमको 3 मिले और उसने क्वेश्चन में ये क्या है, फाइंड द मीन एंड स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ द मेंबरशिप फी. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज हाउ टू यूज दिस टेबल. लीजिए, आपने ये सिचुएट fx and fx square. Fx is product of this part, this part, this part, this part, and this part. And fx square is square of this part into this. So 30 into 30 is 900 into 10. Now, this is summation of fx square, and this is summation of fx, and this is summation of f. ये लीजिए, मीन आपका क्या होगा, समेशन ऑफ fx अपॉन 1290 by 30 आ गया. Now see how standard deviation is calculated. You have written this, please write it. Mean is summation fx upon summation f. That is 1290 by 30. It is 43. Now you have written the formula for standard deviation. Don't get confused by these two values. You can say these are two different values. It is fx square, and here we are using summation of fx upon n ka whole square. Two different values. Don't get confused. Write it, the formula and the numerical number carefully. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What is coefficient of variation? It is denoted by CV, which is equal to sigma upon x bar into 100. That is ratio of standard deviation to mean. The last part is the skewness and kurtosis. Skewness refers to asymmetry of a distribution. Symmetry means that for a given deviations from central value, there are equal number of observations on either side. What I said, mean, mode, median are equal. But graphically you saw it, they are not equal. If a distribution is skewed, it will have a longer tail on either side towards left or right. Thus, skewness is departure from symmetry. In a symmetrical distribution, mean, median, and mode are equal. If a distribution has a long right tail, it is positively skewed. And if it has a long left tail, it is a negative skew. If mode is less than median, median is less than mean, it is positively skewed data. And if mode is greater than median, median is greater than mean, it is negatively skewed data. The slide is visible?
Yes, sir. Visible.
The first one is symmetrical. Mode, mean, median, all three are equal. And in the right side, it is moving towards right side. Yani I can say that it is flattened towards right side. That is positively skewed. And if it is flattened towards left side, it is negatively skewed. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, write down the formula. Now this is related to coefficient of skewness. It was all proposed by Carl Pearson that what could be the relation between mean, mode, and median and standard deviation. The first one is Sk is equal to x minus mo upon sigma. That is mean minus mode upon standard deviation. And the third formula, it is in the terms of quartile deviation. In quartiles. When we are talking about mean and mode, so we can straight away, in place of writing mode or in place of calculating mode, we can calculate median and we can use that formula. That is 3 mean minus median upon Sk. If Sk is greater than 0, it is positively skewed. If it less than 0, it is negatively skewed. And if Sk is 0, equal to 0, the distribution is symmetric. These formulas will be used. This is basically Carl Pearson formula, and this is Pauli's formula. This is Pauli's formula. This is similar to this formula. What I said, Q3 plus Q1 minus 2 median upon Q3 minus Q1. This is Pauli's formula. This is Carl Pearson, and this is Pauli's formula. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We will discuss this in the problem. Nothing to worry about it. Whatever the formula I'm discussing with you, I will definitely show an example of it. Nothing to worry about it. So with this, I will be concluding today's session. And in the next session, I will start it with the numerical problem related to this part, the last part what we have discussed today.
Thank you,
Because
sir.
after a gap of having a class for MMPC-006.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you show
Last
the
word,
Bubble
sir.
formula one more time?
Sorry?
Can you show the Bubble formula one more time?
Problems formula.
No, the Bowles formula.
Got it?
The Bowler formula. I think that's 2 median.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see on the screen.
Not yet.
Sir, screen is not being shared.
Not yet. It's coming.
Okay.
Got it?
Sir, no, sir, not yet.
This? Not yet.
Yes, sir.
I think
Now
we can
it
see
is
only
visible.
But this is the Pearson formula, the next one which you are talking about.
अरे सर जी वो ये रहा फॉर्मूला, ये जिसको मैं रोल कर रहा हूँ, Q3 plus Q1 minus 2 median upon Q3 minus Q1. या
Okay.
आपका Q2 median होता है.
Okay. Sir, is there any way out we can get?
Got it?
Yes, sir. Sir, is there any way out we can get this PPT?
Ma'am, for that you have to write to Arsinoid.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. It was a very effective and impactful class.
Sir, any idea when will be the next
Nice class, sir. Nice class.
Very nice class, sir. We had a good session.
Thank you. I hope you will enjoy my.
Yes, sir, for sure. We are looking forward to the next class with you.
Very, very interesting. All the best.
Bye, sir.
Again,
Thank you, sir.
take class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.